Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts. Sorry that the episode is kind of a little late due to the fact that there were no questions on for the episode, because the episodes I do are usually going to be on Saturdays, possibly uploaded on the same day or otherwise on Sunday. But since that is Sunday, and I did get a question, and I'll actually do the answering questions episode today, I won't be able to upload the video until tomorrow, which is I won't be able to upload the video on Monday, so that would actually kind of delay the video a little bit more. But even though next Saturday will still be a special episode, so I'll actually share a link on the Facebook page, and then that way you can actually pick whatever kind of dinosaur you want me to talk about in the special episode this coming Saturday. All right, let's get right to it. And this is the only question that actually came in, and this is from Rini from Embarrassed, Wisconsin. How about Carcharodontosaurus? Now I'm kind of actually going to paraphrase it in a way that I think what you're trying to say is like, what can you tell about Carcharodontosaurus? Well, considering that Carcharodontosaurus is found in Africa, mainly in the northern part of Africa. It's found in countries like Algeria, Egypt, and I think it's a few other. I think Nigeria, those kinds of countries. But I'm not totally sure the other countries. I need to look up on the map. So, but it is a large theropod dinosaur, and also Carcharodontosaurus in Latin means shark-toothed lizard, and it's kind of interesting too, because it was first discovered in the 1920s, if I believe, and by the German paleontologist Ernst Stromer, and all they found was the teeth, of the animal at that point, and that's why they actually called it shark-toothed lizard. And right here on my right hand is an actual tooth of a Carcharodontosaurus, and here's a replica of a Carcharodontosaurus tooth. Now, of course, they're very different in size. This one actually has the tip worn off, probably it's because of weathering and all that kind of stuff. Or otherwise, maybe the animal actually hit bone when it actually bit, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's just worn. The weathering actually kind of wore off the tip, but mainly teeth like this are actually going to be very common to find a Carcharodontosaurus, because they're very blade-like, as you can tell, very blade-like, thin teeth. And it wasn't until the 1990s that Paul Serino, paleontologist from the University of Chicago, and also has done some work in the Science Museum in Chicago, actually went to Africa with a team of paleontologists and some other students, and also paleontologists from Europe that actually went on this expedition throughout Africa. And originally they were actually looking for some dinosaurs that could actually be like fairly common in northern Africa. But they were looking for like Spinosaurus teeth and all that kind of stuff. But since that they didn't really find that much of Spinosaurus, they actually did find some pretty cool fossils at that point. During their time, they found a small carnivorous dinosaur. I can't remember the name, but I think it's a small dinosaur. It's not as big as Carcharodontosaurus. It did live at the same time as Carcharodontosaurus. But in the meantime, what Paul Serino actually found was actually skull fragments, a nearly complete skull of Carcharodontosaurus. Excuse me. And if you look in like the old TV, like the 90s TV show back on Discovery Channel called Paleo World, or otherwise I think it was on the Learning Channel. I think it was more on the Learning Channel. That Paleo World, it actually did basically a two-part episodes of the expedition. And you see, it's pretty interesting of how they actually do it, you know. And they travel, they actually fly to Europe, and then they actually have to go through Spain and get right into Africa, because since there is a bridge that will actually take them to Africa, that will cross them from the Mediterranean Sea. And basically, when they actually they did actually encounter basically a lot of things. Heat, because since it's very hot in the Sahara Desert, and then also they actually have to worry about like bandits. They have to worry about bandits, basically, kind of like gorillas, human gorillas, basically. You know, like kind of almost like terrorists that actually will actually kind of actually take possessions of things, of people that are like roaming around in the Sahara. But they actually overcame that. But they did encounter some animals too. Animals are actually going to be fairly common in the Sahara Desert, like poisonous snakes. They're going to be very common. Scorpions. They would actually find scorpions, and flies. Flies would have been everywhere in that point. And since the Sahara Desert can actually reach over 120 degrees Fahrenheit, so very, very hot conditions. It's also dry heat. It's very dry. You know, it's not really humid over there. But anyway, Paul Sereno actually found a nearly complete skull and took it over to the University of Chicago, but of course he had to get permission from the government in order to actually take the fossil back over to the United States to actually get the bones out of the matrix and see what kind of animal they actually really got. And basically what they actually found was a skull that was actually 5 feet long, pretty much just almost the same size as the Tyrannosaurus Rex skull. And and since that they believe that Carcharodontosaurus is either the same size or a tad bit larger than Tyrannosaurus Rex. And since that Carcharodontosaurus is part of the family called Carcharodontosaurus, right, named for the name's sake, and that includes like Mosasaurus, Acrocanthosaurus, and Giganotosaurus. Those are the animals that would actually be considered Carcharodontosaurs. Now, there's still some debate over whether Acrocanthosaurus does belong in the Carcharodontosaurid family. But since that Carcharodontosaurus its closest relatives are the allosaurs, of course, and allosaurs have a lot of things in common with the Carcharodontosaurs. Basically, that they have 3-fingered hands, and their teeth are very blade-like, and also their skulls are very narrow, and that kind of actually indicates of what kind of prey they're actually hunting too. And since that Carcharodontosaurus did actually have these blade-like teeth, and Dr. Phil Curry's done a lot of good research about dinosaur teeth, especially carnivorous dinosaur teeth. What he theorizes and basically hypothesized is that Carcharodontosaurs actually had these large blade-like teeth to actually for slicing through flesh, not necessarily to actually to drive in deep into the prey and actually crack bone. These teeth would have been too fragile to do that, to crack bone. And also, since that the jaws of Carcharodontosaurs are very weak, and since that their skulls are very weak, they can only slash their victims in order to actually cause a lot of blood loss. That was basically what they would actually have to kill what they have to do to kill their prey, is basically a lot of blood loss, probably like aiming at the flanks or otherwise at the neck area to actually cut off the windpipe, or otherwise the jugular vein that actually will give blood supply to the brain. But since that Carcharodontosaurs with their large size would have probably been very slow animals, because since that their prey is more likely slow than fast. And their favorite prey, of course, is sauropods. And sauropods would have been its favorite would have been Carcharodontosaurus' favorite food. But even though, since that these dinosaurs probably didn't actually kill sauropods on their own, so like with Mapusaurus, they actually did find multiple specimens of Mapusaurus, and some relatives of Giganotosaurus suggests that they did actually probably cooperate in groups from time to time to actually take down a sauropod that is probably pretty much larger than themselves. But also, like if you saw Planet Dinosaur, the BBC documentary series that was most recently, they actually did an episode of the dinosaurs of South America, and they actually did what they did for Mapusaurus is that they suggested that when it was hunting Argentinosaurus, they can actually just just bite a chunk of flesh out of the Argentinosaurus, out of an adult basically, and they don't really have to totally kill it in order to actually have the fresh meat, because the sauropods can just walk freely with the gas that would actually probably not be that harmful to them. But of course, with Carcharodontosaurus, it probably did encounter some competition, and its biggest competition at that point during that time is Spinosaurus. But even though they probably specialized in different prey, though, and also they probably lived in different territories too. Spinosaurus would actually probably stay near like the beaches, rivers, lakes to actually kind of actually what their prey sources would actually be is carcasses of some dinosaurs, and they can eat pterosaurs too. There's been fossils found of Spinosaur teeth embedded in pterosaur vertebrae, and also mainly fish. And since that Spinosaurs are considered specialized predators, that they actually are not gonna roam around on land that much to actually find food that much, but if it's like a severe drought, they would actually do it. They would actually do it. They would actually do it. But with Carcharodontosaurus, it probably ranged in larger territories, more of a terrestrial kind of environment. But even though it would stick towards rivers to actually hunt along the game trails, to actually hunt for food. And since that there has been fossils found of some of these, that Carcharodontosaurus and Spinosaurus did come into contact with each other. They probably did fight over food from time to time, but it was mainly for if it was an extreme drought or otherwise. There's limited prey sources for both of them, and all they can actually find is animals that are nearby, and they can actually kill whatever they want. But since Spinosaurus is bigger than Carcharodontosaurus, you would think that Spinosaurus would actually have an intimidation factor of actually being larger. It can in that way, and also Carcharodontosaurus would actually have a more devastating bite than Spinosaurus. Because Spinosaurus, he can wheel those huge claws on its hands and just basically slash at the Carcharodontosaurus and make the Carcharodontosaurus kind of almost bleed to death in order to actually get it away from a carcass. But since Carcharodontosaurus is probably more of an active predator, it could run fast, but even though not very much likely. Carcharodontosaurus would actually probably run at speeds of maybe between 10 to 15 miles per hour due to its size. Same thing with Giganotosaurus and Mapusaurus. There's some debate on whether or not Tyrannosaurus Rex could actually reach up to 25 miles per hour. But I mean, that's just up for debate. But also, since that Carcharodontosaurus and its relatives, with their musculature, they probably weren't as strong as as the Tyrannosaurus. The Tyrannosaurs were probably stronger and also a little bit more faster too. So they would actually probably have the ability to actually not make turns. With Carcharodontosaurus, they probably wouldn't make turns very quickly, and also they would actually be very clumsy if they actually did try to run at high speeds over 15 miles per hour. And that is and that's risky for them. There's not really that much of a Carcharodontosaurus skeleton. It's just mainly they have found the teeth and the skull of Carcharodontosaurus. There hasn't really been much of like finding like the complete skeleton. There's some vertebrae that have been found, but it's mainly just vertebrae, teeth, and the skull, because that's all that's been found. And the skull can be seen anywhere. I've actually seen a Carcharodontosaurus skull up close. It was mainly replica, but it was actually during when I actually got to see the Ultimate Dinosaurs exhibit in the Science Museum in Minnesota. And I just thought that was like a really cool looking skull. And if you try to compare that to a Tyrannosaurus Rex, you actually see some total differences between these animals. Because since the Carcharodontosaurus has more of a narrow skull, kind of V-shaped, whereas Tyrannosaurus Rex kind of has a U-shaped snout and also has expanded and also expansion in the back of the skull. And considering the Tyrannosaurus Rex is my favorite dinosaur, I would actually say Tyrannosaurus Rex would actually beat Carcharodontosaurus due to its power and also to better senses. Because since that Carcharodontosaurus has a smaller brain than Tyrannosaurs, because you look at Carcharodontosaurs, you see that their brains are very similar to Allosaurs, and Allosaurs and Carcharodontosaurs don't have very complex brains compared to the Tyrannosaurs and the Dromaeosaurs. Tyrannosaurs have more expanded brains that have expansion in their brains, and also they have better senses, better sense of smell, better sense of sight, better sense of hearing, and also they have better sense of balance than the Allosaurs and the Carcharodontosaurs. But even though since that both Tyrannosaurs, Allosaurs, and Carcharodontosaurs did actually have the same ways of all modern animals, is that they actually are opportunists. They are actually opportunists. They don't care what they actually do to actually find food, either by scavenging or killing. And also, the extinction of Carcharodontosaurus would actually just be basically just environmental changes and new predators. I mean, you name it. I mean, it's just basically that when the environment changes, your prey goes extinct, and then when your prey goes extinct, you're more likely to go extinct. It's because you are more likely to actually basically have cannibalism, and then that totally just ends the species longevity, like just totally collapses just by that. And also, since that new predators probably came in, smaller predators probably were able to actually outcompete Carcharodontosaurus for the remaining food sources. And so they were probably smarter and more faster than Carcharodontosaurus. So it was basically that. So environmental changes and also new predators made the extinction of Carcharodontosaurus. Alright, that's it for now. And like I mentioned in the beginning, this Saturday would actually be a special episode. I'll actually post a link of dinosaur names that you can actually look up and actually see what kind of dinosaur you want me to talk about for the special episode this coming Saturday. And also, you could still send me questions, and you can send me questions anytime. My email's open 24/7. My Facebook is open 24/7. You can email the questions at dinochris71@gmail.com, or otherwise you can actually go on the Facebook fan page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris, And also, you can follow me on Twitter. I actually post some pretty cool stuff on there. And also, make sure to take care of people around you. And also, for you younger kids out there, younger people out there, make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. Those are the best motivation you can have for a good education. It's very important to have a good education, because with a good education, you get a good job in the future. That's it for now, and I'll see you guys this Saturday.